AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Week 12 of the NFL season. One team's playoff hopes hang in the balance, while the other team continues to try and put away an NFC East division crown. It's the Cowboys and the Eagles, and this is Cowboys Pregame Live.
If the Cowboys are going to win tonight, they're going to win with fireworks on offense.
Whoa! Jalen Carter out of this game.
As Shotty said, we continue to compete and play physical like that. We're going to be proud of the team that we can put together each and every week. But we got to move on, and we got another division game next week.
It's one of those days from AT&T Stadium where the crowd is buzzing. The team arrives with high hopes in hand, whether it's Brandon Aubrey, Jake Ferguson, CeeDee Lamb, or even Dak Prescott, who is 21-2 against the NFC East at home throughout his career, has a win streak on the line, and the season's hopes on the line from Arlington. It's the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Philadelphia Eagles, and we are live from the field at AT&T Stadium alongside Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Yeomans. We'll soon be joined by Nicole Hutchison and Nick Eatman here from DallasCowboys.com. Gentlemen, it's a rivalry game, and it's, of course, another chapter in a long, storied history between these two programs in the NFC East. But there's a little bit more on the line for Dallas tonight as Philadelphia enters at 8-2. Their playoff hopes all but sealed. Dallas trying to keep their season alive here.
Yeah, Dallas has one-game seasons from this point on. Obviously, they found themselves in a situation that their record is not exactly where they need it to be, especially in their division when facing against the Philadelphia Eagles. So their season starts tonight, and I look forward to seeing exactly how they can go out there and take advantage of against the Eagles and learn from what they did in Week 1.
You take a look at those NFC playoff pictures across the board, and, of course, the schedule coming up is not easy for Dallas. The next three games, Philadelphia and Kansas City, who, of course, were both in the Super Bowl last year. Then you have the Detroit Lions, a team that's on the outside of the playoff picture at the moment, looking in. But, Barry, what has to be the mindset for Dallas over these next 3 weeks?
Well, Kyle, it may sound corny. It may sound like it's coach speak, but you got to take it one game at a time. Right now, this team is not good enough to overlook an opponent, especially an opponent like the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, you guys understand with those racehorses, right? They got the blinders on the side of their face mask. They can't see to the left of them. They can't see to the right of them. All they can see is straight ahead and exactly what they need to do. That's exactly the mindset the Dallas Cowboys have to have. They've got to look at this Philadelphia team as the next challenge ahead of them. They cannot look forward to the Chiefs. They cannot look forward to the Detroit Lions. They have to face the task at hand, which is the Philadelphia Eagles tonight. And hopefully, once those 3 games are done, you'll see where your team lies. But you got to take care of business tonight.
And what the offense has to do is run the ball maybe 5% more of the time. I'm talking about like 45%, from 40% of the time to 45%. Get your running game going to balance, because these teams that are getting ready to play are going to try to make you one-dimensional. And defensively, you be the best you can be within the team concept, because I tell you, the great one has arrived in Quinnen Williams.
And I think one of the things here for Dallas is they have to be excited for this challenge. They have to be up for the teams that they're about to play. And you got to kind of get that feel from being down here on the sideline that Dallas is ready and anticipating a challenge from Philadelphia today. Here's what Brian Schottenheimer said about that mindset earlier this week.
We're playing, a really good football team in Philly, and, defending champs, and, one of the teams I really respect. I respect the way they play, and they're very talented. They're well coached, and so we look forward to this matchup, and then play that one, and then play another team, a team that was matched up against them, last year in February. And again, we'll find out a lot about ourselves. But I'm the guy that wants to play the good teams. I want to play the good teams and find out where we truly are. And I do think that it's fair. The question's fair. We'll know a little bit more in the next, whatever it is, 12 days, 11 days, kind of where we stack up in the league. And I think we'll answer that question in a very positive way.
You hear it from Coach Schottenheimer there. He's excited about the challenge, and he's excited to see what this team can do to continue momentum from a win last week against Las Vegas. Not the same competition level this week, and that's why you kind of get that benchmark feel across the board. Now, when it comes to Philadelphia and the rivalry between the Cowboys and the Eagles have won 3 straight, which is something that they haven't done, of course, since they last repeated as division champions between 2003 and 2004. They're trying to achieve something like that again today. But when you look at this rivalry, Isaiah, of course, there's a lot on the line for both teams in different ways. What is the state of how Philly and Dallas played again today?
You know what? When I don't necessarily look at it from the rivalry perspective. I look at it more so from the standpoint of how important this game is in terms of your playoff potential. Right? Obviously, you don't like Philly. You don't care for Philly. Philly's always going to be a team that you have to take on because they are coming off. They're the world champs. But the reality is these guys beat you early in the year. Yeah. And your approach needs to be that you have to go out there and combat whatever it is that they're bringing to the field today. You need some get back, and you need some get back in terms of your record this year.
Yeah, to me, this rivalry is still as strong as ever when you look at it. I mean, we understand these two teams, when they get into the white lines, there's no love lost between those. You look at the fan base, the Cowboys fan base, the Eagles fan base, they hate each other as well. So there's no need to have added motivation going into this ball game. But I will say this, Kyle, you talked about it a little bit earlier. The Eagles have won 3 straight games against the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys have got to get a W out here because you don't want this thing to become too lopsided of a rivalry. You don't want to become the Philadelphia Eagles' little brother. So to me, the Dallas Cowboys, they've got to walk away with a W this afternoon or this rivalry will become one-sided.
That last game, both of their best defensive players were missing. The Cowboys' best defensive player and their best defensive player. And that's going to be the difference. Who plays the best? Whether it be Quinnen Williams or whether it be Jalen Carter for the Philadelphia Eagles. They're going to make the difference in what their team does.
And that's the thing is there's a lot of different elements here to be a part of this rivalry that you have to kind of keep in mind. I mean, you guys have all played in this Cowboys-Eagles rivalry. Oh, yeah. How much do you have to kind of compartmentalize here?
You have to put everything in order. I mean, because I played against the Reggie White, Jerome Brown era, and that was a beast. So you have to put everything in its proper place, man, and you have to not have any turnovers.
Yeah, you can't get too emotionally invested as well either. You don't want to go out there pregame and your emotions are running wild and you feel fatigued during the game. You got to make sure you're settled in and you make sure it's a ball game. You can't go out there and sit there and get too emotionally involved in this game, and that's when that adrenaline kicks in and you wear yourself out. I understand it's a rivalry, but you got to treat it as such and go out there and perform once the ball kicks off.
Of course, Cowboys and Eagles, always a big mindset and something to keep in mind as well. Here from beautiful AT&T Stadium, and this is really a fun matchup across the board. So we've got to talk to one of our guys who's on the field for every single game across the way. Nick Eatman joining us here on Cowboys Pregame Live here from the sideline as he walks in at the moment, getting him set up nice and clean here on the sideline. Nick, of course, throughout the day, yeah, we're live.
We're live.
The offense, of course, has prepared for the Eagles' defense all week long. This is a new challenge from what they saw last week from Las Vegas. It is a step up in competition. What do you expect to see differently out of the Cowboys' offense today?
Well, I mean, they're probably going to have to keep up with the Eagles this time. I mean, I think having a couple of touchdown drives in the second quarter, that was enough to win the game. You didn't know that at the time, but it just felt like you were going to be in control. But in this game, you feel like you're going to have to score to keep up with the Eagles. I know their offense has been struggling, but, the Cowboys defense has seen some struggling offenses before that got right against them. So they're going to have to make sure that doesn't happen.
With the new addition of Logan Wilson at linebacker, he got 34 snaps, and he has the green dot on. Will he play more snaps this week? I
would think if you're going to be the green dot, you got to be the one to communicate. I feel like he's going to be, a lot more involved with the defense, linebackers are so important against the Eagles because you got to keep an eye on Barkley, got to keep an eye on Goddard, got to keep an eye on Hurts. And they just kind of, it's almost like Jalen waits to see what the linebacker's going to do, and then he goes to the other route. They have so many weapons. So obviously linebacker is big, and Logan Wilson communication is going to be a key to this game.
Well, Nick, we understand the strength of the Philadelphia Eagles defense. It's that interior defensive line as well as that front seven all together. So how is this Cowboys unit offensively going to produce against, basically the strength of the Philadelphia Eagles, which is that front seven?
Well, I think the first thing you do is you try to get Jalen Carter upset and maybe he'll do something to get kicked out of the game. That's the first thing. If you can do that, it worked once. I don't know if it's going to work again. So I think you're going to have to face him this time. But that's going to be the key. Is like, do you keep running into that brick wall? Like, you keep running, because that's going to set up all the play action and things that Dak wants to do. So I think you got to stay committed to it. It's not going to be easy, but that's why you got Javonte. He's a violent runner. Yeah. I want to see him on that Angry Runs episode that you're going to be on, Isaiah. I want to see some of that from Javonte.
I'm with you on that. Now, Nate mentioned earlier that the best defensive players for each team are now back in this particular game. Do you foresee this being a defensive slugfest or more so offensive shootout, being that both teams have their offensive guys and their defensive guys in the building?
I feel like it's going to be in between. I feel like it's be in those 20s, maybe not 30s, but also not 17-14 or whatever. I don't think that bodes well for the Cowboys. I think keeping this game close, I think the Cowboys are going to have to get a lead and just kind of hang on because you know how it is. The Eagles, when they get close, I mean, they haven't been looking dynamic. They figure out a way to win, and that's the great part about them. They, their offense is obviously not that great. Their defense is kind of average. But the thing about Philly, look at it, they don't give the ball away. Four giveaways. But it's Thanksgiving, you know what I mean? Let's start giving this thing away.
Yeah, that's good. Let's start the week
season
off right.
Of giving.
It is the season of giving, and hopefully Philadelphia does that a little bit here. Nick Eatman, thanks so much, as always, for taking some time and joining us every week here on DallasCowboys.com and Cowboys Pregame Live. You can check out his work all day long on DallasCowboys.com as well. He mentioned it a little bit there. The defense last week, one of the best opportunities that they've seen, really against an opponent like Las Vegas, to see the defense take a step in the right direction. How do they continue that this week? And what did you like most about what the defense showed you last week, Isaiah?
I like that the presence of Quinnen Williams. I don't want to give it all credit to him, but I do believe that he made a tremendous impact on his defense. Having the presence of Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark on the inside really frees things up. It allows for your defensive ends to have one-on-one matchups. It allows for your linebackers to free flow, and your quarterback has less time to throw the ball. So all three aspects of your game gets better. Your rush defense gets better, your pass defense gets better, and your ability to be able to get tips and overthrows. And like my boy Barry always says, you got to get those. It allows for you to do that. So everybody gets better. So I liked what I saw last week, especially in the trenches.
Yeah, you finally saw that rush and cover work together.
Yep.
When the defensive backs were out there, they may have had a step, the wide receiver may have had a step on them, but you saw Quinnen Williams and those guys be able to close the gap on the quarterback and make things hard for Geno Smith out there. So you finally saw rush and cover work together. The coverage in the back end with the secondary was sticky. They had 8 pass breakups last week against the Las Vegas Raiders. That's one of their season highs for the defensive backs for the Dallas Cowboys. So you love that sticky coverage back there. You love that the rush and cover finally worked together. And what I love from these corners, when they were finally asked to play man-to-man coverage and press man-to-man coverage at that, they got their hands on these wide receivers. They threw off the timing between Geno Smith and his options out there, which led to the defensive line to be able to get pressure on the quarterback out there. So I'm loving what I see from this secondary. I'm loving what I see from this front seven. Hopefully we can get some consistency out of it as well.
I hate to say I know it was the Raiders because they're an NFL professional team, but for the first time in I don't know how long, we stopped the run. And that made it where we can allocate some funds to the passing game. We will have to do the same thing this week. Stop the run. I know it's Saquon Barkley. Fill your gaps, stop the run, so we can allocate some stuff to the secondary.
Just 27 rushing yards allowed by Dallas last week, by far their best total of the year, and they did it against the rookie first-round pick, Ashton Jeanty, as well. So different challenge today, different offensive line blocking for their running back up front. But my goodness, how fun was Quinnen Williams to watch last week. The new addition for the Cowboys had a sack and a half last time out. And, of course, he had more sacks in his one game as a Dallas Cowboy than he did his entire 8 games this season with the New York Jets. And he gave a lot of praise for the guys around him at the different position groups, a part of that Dallas defense. Now, Barry, when it came to Quinnen Williams, what aspect of his game did you like to see the most? The run-stuffing ability or the pass rush that he showed?
Well, 2 things. I loved what I saw from the pass rush because every quarterback that I've ever talked to can attest to this as well. He was able to get that pressure from the interior part of the offensive line, and quarterbacks hate that. They can live with that pass rush on the outside all day, every day, because they can step up in the pocket and be able to make throws. But when you're collapsing the pocket from right in front of them, and Isaiah can attest to this, it's a hard thing to overcome. So I love that aspect about it. Also, his leadership ability. Not not only is he out there leading by example, getting a sack and a half and showing these young guys how to go about business, but you saw clips of him going to the sideline with Donovan Ezeraku, coaching him up as they go to the sideline. He's kind of that extension of the coaching staff. And for him to be able to do that, a couple weeks into the game, just shows the type of leader he is on and off the field.
Yeah, I love her, and you're absolutely correct, Barry. Everything about what you just said in terms of the pass rush up the middle, quarterbacks absolutely hate it because there's nowhere to escape to. But I love the fact that he was killing it in the run game. He demands a double team. And if you choose to go ahead and try to ISO him, it is going to be a bad day for you, your quarterback, your running back, whoever has the ball in their hand, because he is going to be a disruptor. So I love the fact that he commands two guys at the line of scrimmage every single play. And when he does that, then everybody else has one-on-one matchups. This is a good defensive line. This is a really good linebacker core. So when you allow for those guys to be consumed and occupied, everybody has a fair one-on-one matchup.
That's the thing, is it's flexibility for the defensive unit as a whole. And flexibility for Matt Eberflus as the defensive coordinator. He can call more things. He can allow for those guys to play free. And he said it earlier this week, it also helps the chemistry on the defensive side.
It was only one game, so probably just be effective and do my job the best I can. I think that's the main thing I kind of went into the game with last week or this past week. On my mind, just do my job the best I can to help this team win football games. I wasn't surprised about their performance or my performance in general because in the 3 days that we had a chance to practice together, 2 days we had a chance to practice together, everybody in that defensive line room works extremely hard. Even the coach works extremely hard and trying to get themselves right to be able to be effective and dominate and do their job the best of their ability. So going out with them, I was super confident in everybody because I got a chance to see everybody work and how everybody carry themselves week in and week out.
Obviously, getting Q is a huge benefit, to everybody. When you rush the passer the way he does and the way they do it as a group, you don't have to cover as long. It's a really big effect. I had that, when I was in Indianapolis when we signed DeForest Buckner, and I knew that effect was going to happen. And that's when you get pressure from the middle, it's pretty close to the quarterback, and it's immediate. And so it's been the same thing.
That immediate impact from Quinnen Williams hopefully taking place today at AT&T Stadium for the first time as he makes his debut at home as a part of the Dallas Cowboys. Let's hear from a little bit of the media mashup this week from some of your favorite podcasts like Girls Talk, Boys Talk, and Talking Cowboys.
Let's talk about it. We're about to play the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles, we all understand that this is not the Las Vegas Raiders, okay? Let's just keep it 100.
And what were the Raiders, you said?
Trash.
And what are the Eagles?
Not trash. Not even recyclable.
Not trash.
Not compost, not any of that stuff. Where I think these guys are weak, the middle of their field. It's booty butt naked, no huggies, just go streaking through the quad in the Coliseum. That's why I feel like Jake Ferguson can have a day. The in routes, the slant routes, all those things, they're going to be contested, but if you can catch it, and you can make one man miss, the guy who's on your back, there's a lot of yak yardage to be had. And I really think that Dallas can expose Philadelphia in the passing game by taking advantage of that vacant middle. And I'm talking about like 30 yards of vacancy here. Yeah. I'm not talking about a couple yards. This is it's like the freaking Red Sea. But by doing that, guys have to win at the line of scrimmage, getting off the ball, and then you got to be able to block it up so Dak has time.
Score predictions. All right. What you got, Bree? What you got, Chrissy?
I think it stays in the 20s. 20s. I'm going to go Cowboys 27. Is that too much? No, I'm going to go 27. Okay.
I'll go 23-17 Cowboys.
No, I'm going to be bold. 21-14 Cowboys.
Oh, my God.
All right.
Oh, boy. Let me take a sip.
There we go.
Fortune favors the bold.
Bree? Take a sip.
What's in that?
Thirsty?
Thirsty. All right. It's going to be a fight.
Of course, you can always start your morning with Girls Talk, Boys Talk at 8 a.m. Central Time. Dak Prescott was a big topic of conversation this week as he popped up on the injury report due to a hip issue, said by head coach Brian Schottenheimer. However, he was a full participant on Thursday and Friday leading into this matchup here on Sunday afternoon. So the question now becomes, Jalen Hurts or Dak Prescott in these matchups? Of course, since the start of the 2025 season, Dak and his offense have been firing on all cylinders to this point in time, as opposed to Jalen Hurts and company, who are still trying to figure out where they're going to bring some firepower on the offensive side of the ball. So, gentlemen, what has continued to make Dak successful this year, Isaiah? Because he's still putting up league-topping numbers despite the record that's at hand.
Yeah, I mean, outside of one game where Dak had 3 interceptions, I mean, he's been really accurate. And he's been throwing the ball to all of his guys. He has CeeDee Lamb out there. He has George Pickens. He has both of those guys together. Jake Ferguson's getting the ball in the red zone. So you have relatively even distribution to those guys. They're all evenly a threat. But then I'll bring that up all the time, the running game. The running game is his greatest asset. And when he has that, he is the most accurate passer in the league off of play action. Let him have that opportunity by allowing him to have a solid running game.
Yeah, when it comes to Dak Prescott, in my opinion, his decision-making has been on point this entire year. I mean, you mentioned the fact those, I think, 1 or 2 games where he turned the ball over multiple times. But other than that, he's done a great job of making decisions for his team and getting the most out of his offense. But I've also got to give a little bit of credit to his supporting cast out there. Like you mentioned, the running back Javonte Williams is having a stellar season so far. Jake Ferguson, Nate's boy over here, has become a red zone, just mismatched nightmare you see out there. And also, we know with that dynamic duo on the outside with George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, what they've been able to accomplish so far this season. So I think the combination of all those factors, decision-making, the supporting cast out there, has led to Dak Prescott having one of his more memorable seasons as a Dallas Cowboy.
Whenever Dak has had the tools, he's run into this toolbox and he's used it well. And what you fellas said, I cannot add on to, but Dak, just keep popping your hips, baby.
Let's not do that because he was on the injury report for the hips. So let's not pop any hips. Let's not do any of that. I'm okay with loosening it up, but we got to make sure that it's healthy. We can't pop anything. We don't like hearing that. All right.
Big night for him,
it is a huge night, and I'm glad you brought that up. He is just 160 yards away from becoming the all-time leading passer in Dallas Cowboys program history and organization history. He could pass Tony Romo with 160 yards. His season low was 188, and that was back in week 1 against Philadelphia. So this is a team and a defense that knows how to slow him down. But how much would it mean to see that happen for Dak, somebody who's gone through injuries, gone through the ups and the downs throughout his career, but to finally see his name at the top of the list as the all-time leading passer in Cowboys franchise history?
That's a huge honor for him.
Yeah.
I mean, he will definitely attain that, barring anything drastic happening, which we obviously don't want to happen.
Sure.
But, I mean, he's battled a lot individually. He's battled a lot in terms of teams and multiple coaches. There's been some really great quarterbacks in this organization's history. So to be at the top of that list is a huge honor for him. And he still has a lot of years left to play in this league.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's an amazing honor. You're talking about one of the most storied franchises in all of football. And like Isaiah said, to have him at the very top of that list when you talk about passing yardage, it's got to be amazing. And it just shows the resilience of a player like Dak Prescott. 4th-round draft pick. I was here when he first got here. I thought, oh, man, this guy got, he got some skills, but I don't know if he's going to be that guy. Man, after that first game at the Coliseum in that preseason game, I understood the type of player that Dak Prescott would become. And as you see here, 106 yards away from topping the pole of that, it's just amazing. It's an amazing feat for him.
But if you want this thing to really jump off right, Dak, win the game. And it'll never be stopped. They'll never stop talking about it, so win the game.
I like that, and he has that as the mindset going into it as well. He even said it earlier in the week when it came to the questions he's, of course, going to face when he's this close to breaking franchise history. He still has the right mindset in mind.
I'm humbled, thankful to be healthy and to be in this position to do it. I was on the production call earlier, and they asked me the same thing, would I have thought this 10 years ago? And I said, yeah, I was very arrogant as a rookie. So when you play in this game long enough, and you can stay healthy with my expectations of what my play is, that's supposed to happen. So just thankful, humbled, super grateful to be playing the game I love at this high of level, and to still be doing it, and just look forward to keep going. That any of those I plan to that'll happen. I'd probably say I'd take the most pride in completion percentage. And that's just that's something that's hard to do. It's hard to do every year, each game, and that's something that, I actually don't think about the long haul of it. I just go in every game, honestly, trying to get 80, and that's such a steep number, but that's what I want. And I think I've told you all that after the games, right? Like any incompletion I don't like unless it's a good one, right? I have to throw it away and live to the next play. So that's probably one I can be the most proud of. The rest of them, like I said, when you're playing this game long enough, I think you should, to an extent.
Still giving credit to the guys around him, and Barry, you said it as well, a top 5 passer in this league. The Cowboys are the only team in the NFL with a top 5 passer, a top 5 rusher. You see Javonte Williams down there with 809 yards total, but also a top 5 receiver with George Pickens, second in the NFL in receiving yards, 908 yards overall. And of course this week as well, the Players Tribune releasing a story where George Pickens talked about his journey to this point in his NFL career and exactly what he's done to this point to really put himself in position to be one of the best in the NFL. It's really cool, and it's a great read, by the way. If you have an opportunity, go check it out on the Players Tribune. It's George Pickens writing as himself. His mom's a guest writer. Awesome. He talks about it a little bit as well, the time that he had in Pittsburgh, where he was even trolling the media in Pittsburgh at different times. But in that whole article, the number one thing he wanted to get across, he wanted it to be printed in bold headline. He said, George Pickens is really just a chill guy. That's what he wants people to know. Okay. He doesn't look chill on the field because he says he unleashes the monster on the field and what he brings to the table. I mean, how much has it been an opportunity for him this year? And I'll give you a true-false question here. Is he the number one target for the Cowboys this year on the offensive side? Because the opportunity has been there and he's taken advantage of it.
You know what? Regardless if he's the number one target, 1A, 1B, 2, I don't care what you want to call it. He's a huge contributor for the Dallas Cowboys. And I believe that he is meant to be alongside CeeDee Lamb. Every receiver that's really good in this league is not meant to be by themselves and isolated as solely the number one. Put them alongside somebody else. We see it in Cincinnati. We see it, obviously, against the Eagles as well. Every team that's at the top of the cream of the crop really has their pair of receivers. I love the fact that he is with CeeDee Lamb. He provides something else opposite of him. And when you couple that alongside Jake Ferguson, that trifecta is absolutely nasty. He's taking full advantage of his opportunities. He's playing in a contract here, and he's making the absolute most of it.
Yeah, without a doubt, he's taking full advantage of the opportunities that has been out there for him so far this season. When you look at George Pickens, he's a mismatch nightmare. Whether it's in the red zone, whether it's yards after catch, if you leave him one-on-one out there, I don't believe there's a corner in the National Football League that'll be able to go out there and win against him one-on-one. I mean, he's that dynamic of a player. And then you also add CeeDee Lamb into the mix as well. It's like a pick your poison when you're at a defensive coordinator position, and who do you take away from it? But to answer your question, Kyle, I still believe this pass game goes through CeeDee Lamb. He's the guy, in my opinion, that forces the double teams, allows George Pickens to go out there and have those one-on-one battles and win those one-on-one opportunities. So, in my opinion, it still goes through CeeDee Lamb, but it sure is a pleasant surprise at what George Pickens has been able to bring to this team and having that dynamic duo on the outside.
He's on fire, and I mean he's been the target because he's the guy that's on fire. He plays against the second and third cornerbacks, which CD is always getting double team. So this guy is doing his job, and I believe what Isaiah said is so true. You need two of these guys. They even got two of them in Miami, so used to have two of them in Miami. Yeah. It's the way of the league. It's not who's one, who's two, who's three. It's who's the hottest guy and who's the best matchup. And Coach has been doing a great job of matching them up correctly.
That's the biggest thing, too, is you got to put them in a position to be successful and share those targets around. And I think a lot of credit does deserve to go to the coaching staff for the Cowboys offense, because you don't just end up with a top 5 passer, a top 5 rusher, and a top 5 receiver with an elite receiver also on your roster who's just been in and out of the fold and would probably be in that same conversation. 100%. Tight ends playing well. Offensive line taking a step forward. There's a lot of things going right on the offensive side of the ball. But it also begs the question, when you see George Pickens that high on the list in terms of NFL receivers, is can you afford to keep him around? That's the next question for Cowboys fans out there. Of course, Brian Schottenheimer has an answer, and so does George Pickens.
Sign me up. I mean, what do you say? Those two guys, I love their relationship, man. I love the firepower that they give us. You know, I mean, that's, one of those games where, you never know which one it's going to be. Some games it's both of them. Some games it's one of them. Again, like I said, I just, I pinch myself at times, because it's like you're talking about when you're Dak or you're the play caller, myself, you're like, okay, well, if we do this, well, which way do I throw it to? I like that matchup. Wow, that one's pretty good too. Like, that's real, and so, I'm very in favor of George having a long-term future with us here in Dallas.
Just the camaraderie and the stuff they had going on here before me is kind of, what I gelled into. So definitely a good fit here at the Cowboys.
See, you said he wants you back. What do you say?
Like I said, I'd love to be back with bro, especially him, Dak, all the guys really.
If the franchise tag comes in March, would you sign it right away or would you wait?
Like I said, I can only really stay in contact with the guys. I kind of leave that type of stuff to my agent.
But then you have to make the decision. If
Yeah.
the tag comes, would you do that or would you wait for negotiations?
I'll have to wait and probably until that comes. So I can't really see in the future, so I have to wait till they get here.
And it's only the second time that George Pickens will be a part of this Cowboys-Eagles rivalry, which took a step forward this week as a Philadelphia elementary school took some time to take a couple shots to the punching bag, lined with the faces of Cowboys players and personnel. This is one of the more incredible shows.
We got to take that type of violence out of the
This
school.
is exactly. That's what I'm thinking. What are we teaching these kids here?
Yeah.
But this is just a small taste of what the Cowboys-Eagles rivalry does look like on a year-in and year-out basis. We have somebody now joining us who's been a part of that rivalry a couple times. Stephen Jones, your first reaction when you see elementary school students hitting the punching bag for Cowboys players?
Well, I've run into their parents at our games, and I know where they get it from. That's here in Dallas, we have class, and we do things the right way. But no, they're starting them at a young age. Good for them. I'm with Nate a little bit. We got to get that violence out. We want them to have passion and love the game.
I love it, too, because as you sat down, I wanted to double-check to see if you had already seen that video before, and you said you did see the video. What was your first reaction as you pulled it up or somebody showed it to you?
I couldn't believe it. I said, is this really happening? And, I don't know who put that together, but interesting is what I would say.
No doubt about that. Now, we just came out of talking about George Pickens and his impact on this team throughout the 2025 season. It's been so much fun watching him as a part of the Cowboys, but there has been a question of what does the future look like with a guy playing that high? Have there ever been conversations, at least in the early going, about what his future could look like in Dallas?
We just got him here and we wanted to get to know him, and obviously our focus right now is on this season, and we'll have plenty of time to work on that when the season's over, but I know his focus, our focus, Coach Schottenheimer's focus, I'm sure George's, is to beat the Eagles this week. It's one game at a time. We obviously know where we are in terms of put ourselves a little bit behind the eight ball in terms of need to get back in this, and it's all going to start here this afternoon against the Eagles.
Well, I know where your focus was prior to the trade deadline, and that was with their Quinnen Williams, in addition that he was last week against the Raiders. Did you foresee the impact that he was going to have when you guys decided to make that acquisition?
Well, when you give, the collateral that we gave for him, absolutely. Certainly that's a big deal. And but we did have a vision. That was something we went over extensively with Coach Schottenheimer, Coach Eberflus, and our staff, because it's very important that he mixed with Kenny Clark and Osa. And, a lot of people don't have that type of resources tied up. But we think that's where the game's won. We've been going against good ones, not to mention what we'll go against today. You may see 5 of the best defensive tackles in the game today. But we know what it's like to go against guys like that, Dexter Lawrence with the Giants. They affect the ball game. And we want to be strong there in the trenches, up the middle. The kryptonite for a quarterback's pressure. And we all know when they start to feel that, then good things can happen for the defense. But we put a lot of thought into it and like where we ended up.
Yeah, we love what we saw from the new additions last week against the Raiders. Quinnen Williams, a sack and a half out there. Logan Wilson getting everybody lined up and making sure they're flying around to the football. Is there anything that you'd like to see in this game this afternoon, whether it's offensively or defensively, to further validate that this team is headed in the right direction?
I think we've got to grow on that execution. You said it best, making sure everybody executes on their assignments. I think that's been one of our biggest problems on defense is executing what we're trying to do. I felt like we were getting an identity last week, but we have to build on that. One of the things you mentioned is, Logan Wilson getting them lined up, everybody getting the calls early. Having Hooker and Dono back was huge, and we've been missing those guys, for 4 games, 5 games with Hooker. And he's a big part of quarterbacking that back end back there. And as you know, Barry, it's so important that everybody communicates and gets everybody in the right spot, doing their assignments, and then they start to play fast, and then you get an identity. And that's what's important to me, to this organization, is for us to go out and be consistent, find an identity on defense, because we all see what that offense can be when they start rolling.
Yes, we've been here with you 3 times. We've been on this camera 3 times. And I'm going to ask you the same question in a different way for the 3rd time. We got a nice little 3-game, 17-day deal. You need Javonte Williams to run the ball. What can I do for Coach to give him an extra few carries?
Well, I think I know that's his plan.
Yeah.
And especially when you play a team like this, you don't want to get behind the chains. You don't want to get in situations where they know you're having to throw the ball, because that's when they're at their best. And they are really good at getting to the quarterback with just 4 guys. And, we want to stay out of that situation. Coach Schottenheimer knows that. Best way to stay out of that situation is run the ball and give Javonte 4 or 5 more carries that he should get.
No doubt about that. You can hear the boos in the background. The boo birds are out, which means the birds are probably taking the field. Stephen, we'll let you go. Appreciate you, as always, taking some time with us. It's always a pleasure to catch up with you. And, by the way, I love the jacket today.
Well,
that jacket, that's next level today.
Compliments of my mom.
I love it. Very nice. Stephen Jones joining us here on the sideline at AT&T Stadium. Thanks, Stephen.
Take care.
There he goes. Out at the Miller Lighthouse, the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders taking some time to have fun out with the fans, as inside AT&T Stadium you see the Eagles wearing their Kelly Green Eagles throwback uniforms. It is a fun matchup, uniform-wise, rivalry-wise, and, of course, playoff implication-wise. Dak Prescott and company getting ready to defend home turf against their hated NFC East foe, as we now welcome in Nicole Hutchison from DallasCowboys.com. What up, Nicole?
What's up, y'all? Thanks for having me. Always
Absolutely.
a pleasure.
We, for those that may not know, she sat down. Stephen pops up. We had to flip it all around, but now we've got an opportunity to catch up with you. And you had a chance to catch up with one of Stephen's recent wins. How about Kalen Carson last week against the Las Vegas Raiders, coming in at the cornerback spot? He's been dealing with injuries his first 2 years, and he made quite the impact last week.
Yeah, you talk about, well, you know what the young kids like to do? I'm saying young kids like I'm not young, but they do like this. Like, that's T. Yeah, Kalen Carson playing very well right now. But you talk about a player that has had to battle and show some resiliency. He has been one of those guys. I mean, outside of the field, but specifically on the field, a shoulder injury, hyperextended knee when he thought that he was going to come in and be your starting cornerback for the Dallas Cowboys. And he kind of went into this downfall mentally, tough spot mentally, he told me. And he said it took not one, but 2 conversations with head coach Brian Schottenheimer to pull him out of it.
That conversation was I was emotional because I missed so much football, like last year, and then come back, get hurt again. And I'm eager to show what I could do, and it's just not happening for me. So he basically just telling me, like, you will get your chance to play. About a month ago, it was like the real conversation. That was just like, I kind of felt like, to be honest, like, I forgot about. I just wanted to be coach and stuff like that. And he basically got me out of my feelings. It kind of broke something down to me to where I was like, this is how you get back on the field. This is how you and once I got that clarification, and I just kind of went home and, like, changed my mindset, because I was walking around here, like, upset, like, just because I know what I could bring to the table. I know, like, my talent, and it's hard when you can't show it. Not being healthy, like, all the stuff that you can't control. And basically when I talked to Shadi, I'm like, I went back to practice with, like, a new mindset.
You're not the only person that feels that way. That's happened to a lot of guys, throughout the league, especially here in Dallas. But something that, I feel, and correct me if I'm wrong, like, you kind of have that I'm not going to budge, I'm not going to break, resilient mentality. Right. And that's because of everything that you've been through, overcome. I talked about your mom, how, you come from humble beginnings. You lost your brother to the justice system and, a lot of things like that. What moment in everything that you've been through kind of best defines your journey and making who and shaping you, who you've become now?
I've been through so much life stuff, like adversity-wise, and last year I was battling with myself mentally because I would miss a tackle or I would not set the edge or something like that. Knowing that, like, it was 9 times out of 10 for my shoulder, but once I do it, next play I'd be like, I got next play mentality, and I'm gonna make next play, I'm gonna make next play, I'm gonna make next play. But then you building up a whole bunch of bad plays, and it's like, I don't even realize that because I keep on saying next play, next play. It got to a point last year where I'm like, I had to sit myself down. Like, I'm like, I can't go no more because I keep saying next play and it's not happening for me. Our identity relies on player performance, basically. I didn't know my identity was that at first. I didn't at all. Like, until I started not playing well. I felt like my identity was gone.
So it's like when people say it's me versus me, it was literally you versus you. And when you talk about, what you learned, what's something that you learned about yourself through that adversity that you didn't know about yourself?
That no matter what, like, I feel like I'm gonna always keep going and always find a way. I'm very resilient. I knew that, but it was times last year where I didn't feel very resilient. My mom really showed me a lot of stuff, like the resiliency. We got in a car accident when I was 2 years old, and she lost her leg. She's been working, 2 jobs ever since, trying to provide, stuff like that. So if she could do that, I know I could. I have 2 legs. I'm healthy.
No excuse.
Yeah, no excuse for me.
Walking seatbelt. That was a nickname that your teammates from college gave to you because you were a lockdown corner. How did that nickname push you to raise your standard?
I got that name as a freshman, so I didn't know nothing about what was going on whatsoever for real. I had I'm not gonna say I didn't have no knowledge of football. I did, but I was so raw. I'm just out there playing. I'm making a lot of plays, but I really don't know what's going on. They had basically came to me and, started that or whatever. And then I just went with it for real. But I really wasn't, it didn't change anything because I was just out there anyway.
Well, you go on to have success at Wake Forest. You get drafted to the Dallas Cowboys. Now you're playing well. What does that next chapter look like for you as a Dallas Cowboy?
Really just showing up every day, going hard. You're going to have bad games. You're going to have tough days. You're going to have days where you don't want to be in the building. I don't want to ever feel what I felt last year mentally, where I felt like my mind was. I just want to, if something goes left, I want to keep my same mindset to whereas, I know I'll get back up on my feet.
Yeah, guys, I don't know if y'all heard that part where he said, he felt like his identity was gone last year after having a struggle or going through so many struggles on the field. But, this is somebody who we've seen, kind of bounce back from what he's been through multiple times. But, he also told me that, coach told him that, hey, you got to go let yourself be known. These coaches don't know you. They're coming in, they see you on the film and things like that, but they don't know you. Go show them what you are more than just, the tape. So I love that about him. I also was told that Kalen will start today at outside corner, so love hearing that as well.
There's a couple ways that he can continue showing that today, but he did show it last week against Las Vegas, by far his best outing of his young career, and just trying to take advantage of the snaps and the opportunities that he has in hand, and we saw that from Carson last week. Nicole Hutchison joining us here on Cowboys Pregame Live. Thanks to Nicole, as always. It's a special day for Kalen Carson. It's also a special day for the NFL. It's the annual My Cause, My Cleats celebration where every player has custom cleats pregame made to show some love to different nonprofit charities of their choosing. You've got CeeDee Lamb, Osa Odigizua showing off theirs, Brandon Aubrey, of course, as well. Lots of great nonprofits being showcased in pregame today with the My Cause, My Cleats celebration. It's become one of our favorites as well. And Isaiah Stanback's got a great look here with Camp Sweeney. Isaiah, tell us a little bit about your nonprofit organization and why you chose them for My Cause, My Cleats.
Yeah, for those that don't know, I have a daughter. Her name is Nadia. She was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at age 3. She's now 13. She just celebrated her diaversary, every 10-year anniversary of having diabetes. Well, every year since she was 5 years old, she's been going to an all-diabetes kid youth camp called Camp Sweeney. We get to drop her off for 3 weeks. They have diabetes educators. She's able to take off all of her insulin pumps, take off all of her continuous glucose monitors, and just be a kid. It is so isolating to be a diabetic, especially as a youth. So to be able to go out there and be surrounded by those that are just like her, it's a community, and Camp Sweeney allows for her to have that. So I have a lot of love and a lot of appreciation for them. They've impacted my daughter. They impacted our family. So this is My Cause, My Cleats, Camp Sweeney.
These are really, really well made, by the way, too. I love the look. You got Camp Sweeney here, you got the logo here, but turn it around because I think the inside of the shoe is as cool as it gets. Look at the pine trees that are lining the inside of the shoe. I'm a little upset you're not wearing these at the moment. I thought about it.
Following today, so you guys can go, if you guys want to have opportunity to donate, you guys can go to my IG page.
Okay.
I am Stand Back. I have the links on there that you guys can be able to donate if you feel. But I have to send these back so that they can auction these off. So I didn't want to scuff them up.
You got to put them on, though, because then they're game worn. They're show worn by Isaiah Standback.
Shout out to the NFL and what they're doing in terms of exposure, and make sure that everybody knows. But there's a lot of great causes out here represented tonight. This is just the one that I'm supporting.
No doubt about it. It's one of the coolest traditions I think that the NFL does year in and year out. And I'm happy you were able to be a part of it. It was really cool.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Now, this is something you can celebrate no matter who you're a fan of. Maybe you're a fan of the Cowboys. Maybe you're a fan of the Eagles. Or maybe in some cases you're a fan of both? Question mark? Still looking here at the overall, looking at the My Cause My Cleats here with a little technical difficulties. Now, these My Cause My Cleats are beautiful across the board. You get Dak Prescott showcasing as well. The Cowboys still having fun with what they're doing every single time. There's Dak Prescott right there, what he's showing off. Of course, he's got the Jordan deal, too. The Jordan deal is a little bit of a secret.
On the back of those, it says, take a closer look. Really cool. Yeah, really cool.
Really cool stuff as Logan Wilson working his way out there as well. Lots of really cool looks here by the Cowboys on My Cause, My Cleats. Let's take a look at one of the social videos we had fun with earlier this week.
Here, you can have this. I don't need it anymore. What are you doing? Why do you got cow? Because I like the Cowboys now. You're a traitor, yo.
Of course, a fun video. You got the allegiance changing from Cowboys and Eagles, and I like the way that she chose the Cowboys this time around. That's the right decision. That's what it should be when moving forward. Of course, the Cowboys still in second place in the NFC East after Week 11, going into Week 12. Their playoff hopes really hanging in the balance today, taking on the league-leading, NFC East-leading Philadelphia Eagles. Barry, I'll start with you on this one. The Eagles are 8-2. But they haven't been playing their best football, especially on the offensive side. What still makes them special across the board?
Because, in my opinion, it doesn't matter the style of the fight when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles. But they, whatever the case may be, come out on top. Whether that's, having to come back from 21 points and scoring, the avalanche of points towards the end of the ball game, or the defense has to stand up holding an opposing team to under 10 points. Whatever the case may be, the Eagles have found ways to get victories in the National Football League, which is not an easy thing to do, and I believe that's what makes them so dangerous. If you need them to put up a lot of points, they can do so. If the defense has to step up and be a juggernaut out there, they're able to do that just as well. So to me, styles make fights, and the Eagles can hit you on both ends.
They don't turn over the ball, and they turn the ball over. They have a solid, serious running game. They have a quarterback that can do both throw and run. So as long as they can run the ball effectively, they will win games, and they don't turn it over.
It's what those two guys said, and then there's this dude named Howie Roseman, and what he's done in terms of providing talent. These guys know it as well as anybody. You could be playing like trash, but if you have a roster that is stacked with talent, your trash doesn't smell as bad, right? So these guys have so much talent on this field that they put out there week in and week out. Even when they're playing bad, they're still going to be competitive just because they have that much skill on the field at one time.
That's the thing, is it's depth, too.
Yeah, yes.
When one guy goes out, another guy is right there playing at an extremely high level. So even when the defense isn't playing at a high level, they've got other guys that they can rotate in, and as long as they're there, they're fresh, right? And that's the big thing for Philadelphia that has continued to push them in the right direction. Now, it hasn't been the best year so far on the offensive side of the ball, and there's been rumors of discontent in Philadelphia across the board, but Jalen Hurts saying that there's not a ton of frustration because at the same time, they're 8-2.
If there are frustrations from your teammates or coaches with you, do you feel like you're open to them coming to you with it?
Well, I can't get into hypotheticals of if. Ultimately, it's about coming in here and working and leading and bringing good energy and going out there and showing about how you work.
You know, at the end of the day, we come out here we are here to play as a team and to play together and go out there and find ways to win. And so that's where we all have our focus at.
So those things haven't been brought to you directly?
I don't want to get into that. I know it hasn't, though.
How about you personally?
Y'all bring it to me. I mean, you know, I think it's a bit of a different thing. Again, I don't want to get into the weeds of anything ultimately.
But from a personal level, that's what I was going to ask you about. How do you sort of, I assume you get frustrated at times with certain things. How do you sort of overcome that?
It comes with the nature of it. You know, everybody's going to have an opinion, and I give a lot of respect to those things. Ultimately, you know, we're all here to do the same thing. And so it's about the pursuit of that, you know, and I've always encouraged trying to work together to achieve that.
Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, it'd be one of the lowest overall passing percentages on average for a top seed in the NFC ever. And that's what really the question has become. Is there trouble out in Philadelphia, or is this something that's just a bump in the road and part of their identity?
It's their offensive coordinator.
Oh, yeah.
People forget that Kellen Moore was the offensive coordinator last year when they had the Super Bowl run. Kellen Moore is now the head coach for the New Orleans Saints. He's not there anymore. They replaced him with a gentleman by the name of Kevin Patullo. He has not been as productive. He has not been as creative. He has not been able to get the ball in the hands of all of his playmakers the way in which previous offensive coordinators have. That is their problem. So now they're trying to find their new identity. Their offensive line isn't as dominant as it once was. The scheme is completely different. Some offensive coordinators try to carry over what the previous has. He did not. He came in and brought his own thing, and it's just not hitting the same.
Yeah, I can understand the frustrations from an A.J. Brown. I mean, when you're that level of a player and you understand that you can help this team win in so many different facets, but you're not able to go out there and show that, give examples of that, and it's because of the offense. Like you just said, it's very vanilla. It's very simple out there, and defenses are starting to get a hold of it. You know, you don't have that run game that you had last year to kind of gnaw all of that. You know, so A.J. Brown, I can understand the frustrations, but the Philadelphia Eagles, when it comes to their quarterback position, have one of the best leaders in National Football League in Jalen Hurts, and he's always about keeping the main thing. So they continue to win out there, but if they do lose a couple games here and there, I believe that noise will get a little loud in Philadelphia.
The noise will be heard. If they lose a couple of games starting with this one, the noise will be heard, and then they will make some adjustments. Until then, Jalen Hurts going to do what Jalen Hurts do. That just leads this bus down the road.
Yep. Well, let's give a couple guys to watch in this game because Philadelphia has a number of them. Isaiah, I'll let you start. One player that Philadelphia or that Dallas has to have their eye on from Philadelphia.
Zach Bond. Yeah, Zach Bond on the defensive side. I mean, that linebacker, man, he's an absolute beast to me. I mean, he's somebody who's very smart, doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He showed up on the scene last year in a major way, but he comes downhill. That's the one thing that he does really well that I hope that our linebackers will continue to try to find a way to build on from last week. When those guys demand those double teams on the interior of that defensive line, on the defensive line, he sees the ball, he hits the ball. There's no hesitation, there's no waiting around, and he is a sure tackler. He's the guy who brought down who's our running back? Miles Sanders in week 1. He's the guy who just he has no quit in him whatsoever. Somebody you need to be aware of where he's at.
Yeah, for my player to watch, you know, I got to go with my Toledo brethren. All right, I got to go with Quinnen Mitchell out there. This guy is your old school number one corner. Not a guy that, you know, sits on one side of the play. He travels with the number one guy out there, and he is a locked down corner. Whether he's playing from off coverage, whether he's playing press, he loves to get his hands on guys. He's a physical, old school style corner, and he's not afraid to stick his neck in there when you talk about the ground game. So for me, I got to go with Quinnen Mitchell. You got to understand where he is at all times, and it's going to be a feast or famine when you talk about going at him, because this is a guy that loves to take the football away as well.
And the reason both of those guys are very successful is number 98, Jalen Carter, the guy that don't know how to keep his fluid in his mouth. And so, hey, as long as he rocking and rolling out there on the field, they will be dangerous.
I like that. I like the way you put that. Of course, there's a lot of different topics of conversation across the board, but these guys are some of the best at what they do on the defensive side. And there's a reason all three of you guys picked defensive players, not an offensive guy, which I think is interesting. I still think you got to watch out for Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, Dallas Goedert. They've got a lot of guys, but those are certainly three guys to keep an eye on. Let's check out some more media mash from earlier this week.
to me, you don't want this to be a repeat of the Denver game, where they let that ferocious front seven for Denver just pin their ears back and get after the quarterback. I mean, there was too many times where you saw Dak Prescott 5-step drops, deep developing, and yes, you got the receivers on the outside to get it done, but do you have the time in the pocket for that as well? You know,
we got a little taste of the Cowboys defense.
How'd you like it?
I like tasty good. Look good, tasty good.
Just trying to get
pulled
Felicia.
off.
I'm sorry, Felicia. Sorry.
Felicia.
You're going to be like that brother at the table.
Outside the glass. Hey! What do you guys expect out of the defense this week? Do you expect this is a really good offensive line, maybe one of the best offensive lines in the league?
Number 3, I think, my man's
5 now.
I'm 5.
But again, they're missing 2 starters.
Yeah, so.
Are we going to see, is it going to resemble more what it did this past week or what it did in weeks prior?
Somewhere in between.
Okay.
Good call.
I think the days of what we saw weeks 1 through 7 or 8, whatever that was, prior to the trade, I think those days are done. Don't be the worst. You're probably not going to be the best. Yeah. Be somewhere in between. That's what the people have asked for. Right. They've asked for, hey, be middle of the road.
I've asked for it too.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Be 15, 18, 20 with the way the offense can produce. So I think that's somewhere you level out in somewhere around there. Now,
should be. I mean, with the talent they have now,
right?
They should be in that range.
They went, 31 points a game to 29?
Yeah.
Keep them under 30.
It could have been 33. It could have been going the opposite way.
Our man Nate Newton representing on Hanging with the Boys weekdays at 1 p.m. Central Time. Let's take a look at the Cowboys inactive list. A weird one at the top. Jalen Tolbert out today for the Cowboys. Did see both Jonathan Mingo and Ryan Flanoy as a part of the warm-ups earlier, but no Jalen Tolbert. That'll be a storyline as the day goes on. Perion Winfrey coming back into the fold from an injured stint. He's not available today for the Dallas Cowboys as well. So a couple guys to keep an eye on. Of course, the Eagles dealing without Lane Johnson. What was that?
I said they sat Jay Toia as well. So
yeah, Toia.
Winfrey and Toia. Those are both D tackles.
Big defensive tackles, but they've got a couple extra guys up front that they can rely on. And speaking of the defensive front, 4-3 defense was what we saw a lot of from Matt Eberflus last week. And I think, Isaiah, when it comes to what they bring to the table from a 4-3, it might be something that Dallas can take advantage of.
Yeah, absolutely. Dallas definitely needs to continue to do what we were doing last week, which is a 4-3 defense. And the reason why is because it creates mismatches up front. Like I mentioned, when you have Kenny Clark and you have Osa Zigazua and all the rest of the guys in there, it makes a lot of problems. But you see right here on the right side of your screen, you got Donovan Ezaraku on the outside, and then you also have our big man Quinnen Williams. They're going to run what we call a TE stunt. The tackle's going to go out, the defensive end's going to come in. What that causes is it causes two different levels. So you see Quinnen Williams going outside. The guard that's to the left of number 71 right there has the responsibility of securing the inside. And his man right there is Donovan Ezaraku. So as Ezaraku comes in, he comes off of Quinnen Williams. There's no longer 4 hands on Quinnen. Now there's only 2 hands. And you see the levels that are created right there. Now that side, that offensive tackle's shoulders are to the sideline, and it allows Quinnen Williams to get the inside pressure. He's able to throw him by because you can't stick him one-on-one, and he's able to go in there and get a big boy sack on the quarterback. This is what the 4-3 allows for, especially when you start widening that defensive end out to a 7 and 8 and a 9 technique. It creates mismatches in the Quinnen Williams and the Dallas Cowboys that are benefactors of it.
And Nate, this is also a key matchup that you're going to keep an eye on as well. The guards for Dallas have to stand up against, on the opposite side of the football, the interior defensive pressure that Philadelphia is going to bring to the table.
Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter is going to bring a lot of heat up the middle. And our 2 guards in center are going to have to do a super job, especially against the run, so we'll be able to have that play action pass come into effect.
Isaiah, what's a key matchup that you're taking a look at?
Oh, my goodness. Key matchup. I think you have to be looking at the defensive end position. I think you got to worry about Phillips out there. Phillips is going to be a problem out there for the tackle, Terrence Steele, who's fighting for his life.
Oh, wow. And when it comes to me on the matchup-wise, I'm going Quinyon Mitchell versus whoever they decide to line him up against, whether it's CeeDee Lamb or George Pickens. This is going to be a fight because they're going to leave him one-on-one with one of these guys. They believe that much in Quinnen Mitchell and his ability to go out there and lock down a wide receiver. We'll see what happens. We'll see if this dynamic duo can take advantage of it, but it's going to be a heck of a matchup to keep your eyes on.
So we've taken a look at the key matchups.
Yep.
We've taken a look at some of the film. We've taken a look at some of the players to watch on the Philadelphia side. Guys, I need you to give me a bold prediction on what's going to happen in this game today. How do you feel like this one's going to go?
I think it's going to be a tight game, a really highly competitive game. But I think the Dallas Cowboys figure it out. I think they're able to go out there and produce more offensively than the Philadelphia Eagles can.
I think this is going to be a showcase offensively for the Dallas Cowboys. I see Dak Prescott going out there, 3 touchdown passes. I'm going to say 2 to George Pickens, 1 to your boy Jake Ferguson out there. But it's going to get the ball done, or the job done offensively. I see a shootout with the Dallas Cowboys getting the victory.
And as I told the owner over here, Mr. Stephen Jones, we need 25-plus carries from Juggernaut.
There you go.
Yeah, we got to stay balanced.
Yes, indeed.
I like it. 25-plus carries. The Dallas Cowboys only team in the NFL with a top 5 passer, rusher, and receiver. And it's going to be on display against the number 1 defense, arguably, in the NFL. It's the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. Week 12 of the NFL season is here from AT&T Stadium. 3:25 kickoff on Fox. Be sure to join, of course, Kevin Burkhardt alongside the great Tom Brady up in the booth as well.
Yes.
For Isaiah, Barry, Nate, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long from Pregame Live. We'll see you after the game with Cowboys Game Night and Cowboys OT.